All right, welcome everyone. It's Chris Petri. Thanks again for stopping by for another tutorial. We're working together to create this beautiful, nice, loose, tons of water, tons of paint, glazing method painting of a city scene. This is, I think, either in Italy or Spain. A nice, well-lit walkway and corridor going up to a apartment building with a green door here, so pops of color, looks really good. Light coming from the top of the scene down into this alleyway. So this is like an alleyway, and we have beautiful lines here, tons of vertical lines, making this feel very, a lofty, kind of like two mountains on both sides going up vertically, and then like a beautiful doorway with some steps going up and some cafe tables here, and everything just looks really good, beautiful. Good color mixtures, reds, yellows, blues, greens, lots of darks, lots of lights, kind of a good mixture of light and darks in this painting. So you're going to have a fun time seeing how we do this. Join along with me. We're going to cover all the colors you're going to use, how to mix everything. We're going to cover some new brushes, and this is how you loosen up. If you want to try out loosening up your paintings, you're going to get some mop brushes and work with a little more water, a little more paint, and use the glazing method exclusively for painting in this kind of style. But I know many of you like this style, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to cover this style right now, right here. So we'll grab our art supplies, we're going to grab our pencils, our paper, our paints, our brushes, and we're going to go through everything. And incidentally, just to mention, you don't have to actually have mop brushes right now at this point in time. If you don't have mop brushes, don't worry. Until you purchase them and get them and pick them up and shop around for them, whatever, you can still use your regular round brushes or square brushes, flat brushes if you have. Whatever you have, you use. You can still do the same methods and techniques as we're doing here. Only thing I would mention is if you are going to use some round brushes or square flat brushes, you'd want to use really large ones to get the big, large washes on here that we're going to do for this tutorial. And you'll see we do everything here. I explain everything in great detail so you don't have to be guessing or second guessing on everything. I want you to have those details so that you can make better looking paintings, okay? And if it's your first time here, great to see you here. And we'll work together now. Let's start with our pencil drawing first and a little bit of warm-up exercises. All right, we just saw the finished video, so let's get excited and get started. This is Chris Petri, of course, and welcome. You've just seen also the finished painting that we created, and now we're going to kind of see how we can learn to get to that result together here as we work. Basically, the title here of the video is Fun Ways to Learn New Techniques in Watercolor, and basically that's what we're going to do. We're going to learn a few new techniques, and we're going to actually use some new brushes. Actually, that's a great way if you want to learn to maybe some new techniques or to add a little bit different flair to your work or to loosen up your work. A lot of times, many people, you kind of see it in the comment section, right? People always say, oh, how do we loosen up, or how do I loosen up my artwork a little bit? I feel like it's too tight or too, just it's not quite feeling, flowing and loose maybe as much as I would like it to. How do we do that? So we'll just cover it here. Why not? We'll take our time here and go at a good pace. So again, the idea is if you change your brushes, essentially you can actually really take your techniques and actually even the finished look of your paintings to a different place, and it never hurts to experiment with different techniques and methods in watercolor. I always have done that since I started, so I never felt locked into one set of techniques or one type of brush or two or three or so forth, or one palette, or I stick with the same colors basically in my palette, but I've changed different palettes, I've changed different brushes. I've always been experimenting always as I go, and I still do. But these are some mop brushes, which are really fantastic because they and also a needlepoint brush to get some fine lines. But these two mop brushes are actually just like phenomenal because you can use quite a bit more water when you're creating your washes on your painting and your glazings. So what we'll do in this painting is we're going to create this scene. But the first thing I wanted to do is just kind of show you the mop brush, and they come in all kinds of various sizes. I buy Alvaro Castanet's mop brushes on his website. And I've bought his brushes and so forth for many years now. So I've been following him for many years. And so so this is a number 2 and a number 6 mop brush, and then there's the number 10 needlepoint brush. So these are the main brushes I use when I'm using mop brushes, and there's other sizes I have too in my arsenal over here in the studio. But these are the kind of main ones I would use, and these are pretty much for medium-sized paintings or even large paintings. And I have the larger mop brushes for really, the full-size sheet of paper type paintings. But these 2 here would be fine for the painting we're doing. Actually, this one might work the best probably, but we could still try these out. But let's see what they do when we put these onto and this is just a test piece of paper. So if you're used to using, and we'll also use a few of the round brushes that we normally use. So these here are the travel brushes, sable hair brushes, travel brushes by Da Vinci, and these are squirrel hair mop brushes. So we'll use all of these in our painting. But for right now, if you're not used to using mop brushes, these are really, fantastic brushes. You can use lots of water, lots of paint, and get a lot of wash on your painting quickly and add that really beautiful, exciting look of lots of water moving around and paint on the paper. Really does look great. So let's just say we'll take some colors here, and we're going to use maybe these colors. We're going to definitely use these colors in the painting. So we have some raw sienna, some yellow ochre. We'll take some alizarin crimson, like this. And we'll take some cerulean blue down here with a little purple, violet, and maybe even some cobalt blue. So some blue and purple down here, and then some gold and red up top. So what we'll do is, if we look at the photograph here, it's pretty much lots of gold, yellow ochres, and reds here in the buildings in this beautiful street scene here. It's actually an alleyway through a area where there's lots of apartments and things in Italy. This is an Italian scene here. And I think it might be Spain or Italy. In any case, let's kind of get an idea of getting that first wash on. So again, we're going to use lots of water. Mop brush holds tons of water, and then we're going to go in and get our gold and reds here and just start kind of looking at the painting and saying, yeah, there's a lot of golds and reds over here on the side of the painting. So right away you can kind of see we're getting in that first bit of wash, and then a little bit of blue and purple over here for the cooler section, for the center. And there's even a little bit of green, viridian green. Put that up here. Maybe a little bit of viridian green here. Like this. Alright, so look how much wash we've been able to put on that paper right away. And that would be our first glazing. You can get a little more yellow and gold for over here on the sides. But you can get that right on your paper first thing. And then maybe a little more red here, and gold, yellow ochre, and alizarin crimson. And maybe we go a little darker over here, like this. There's a little bit of gold and red too in the other areas, but that's pretty much what we're seeing here for that first glazing. And you can see how quickly and loose and fun this was to get that first glazing over the whole page. If you wanted to, maybe don't ever be afraid. Have a tissue with you or a paper towel when you're working. If you find you see an area, maybe you think you put too much paint in there, too much wash. So maybe in this center area too, we want to just lift up a little bit of paint and get a little more light in there. You can just take a tissue and go in here and lighten it up a little bit if you want, like that. Maybe some down here too. So you can always do that. You can get more light in your painting by just lifting up a little bit of your wash if you have to, if you feel you went too dark. But the fun thing about this is our washes, our glazes with the glazing technique, and that's what we're using right here. And you'll always hear me, just for a little side note here, you'll always hear me talk about the glazing method or the alla prima method in my videos and also in my book. And I hope you check out my new book below in the comment section. The whole entire book is in a quick 2-minute video, so you can see all the pages in my book. So you won't be kind of at a loss to what's in the book. You'll see all the paintings. I have really tons of paintings in the book. Beautiful paintings that are all done in either alla prima or glazing technique, and I use both of them all the time, and I explain that in my book in detail. So I'll be explaining the same idea that we're doing right here, right now. And that is, you get your first, for the glazing method, you're getting your first light wash over the whole paper. And this is a really highly effective way of doing that, even to the highest degree, using a mop brush. So you get your washes on super fast, super quick, and that's the first part of the painting. And then when we come back, we'll start working in the details here. Now, this is just a fun way and a piece of scrap paper to show you what the mop brush does. And when we come back, we're going to lift off this paper. I'll just take a quick break. We're going to lift off this paper, and we're going to create the the painting that you saw just in the beginning of the video. And also, too, I wanted to mention the painting that we just did in this video. That'll be on my community tab in my homepage, YouTube homepage. So you just have to go. Well, you're already in YouTube. Maybe when you're done with the video watching, you can just click on my name on the video. And if you click on my name at the top of the video, right under the picture, you click on Chris Petri. That'll bring you to my homepage on YouTube. And then you can click on the community tab. And on that community tab, we're going to have the pencil drawing and the finished painting on there. So you'll be able to work from either the finished painting or both, the sketch and the finished painting. You'll have those both in photograph form. So you have those pictures online for you, right on YouTube, right on my home channel, under the community tab, which is when you open up my homepage, Chris Petri. Right there, you'll see the word community. Click on that, and you'll see the photographs of this painting, finished painting, my pencil sketch, and I'll even put on this photograph too as well. All right, so I'll take a quick break now just to get reset up. We'll take this off and start our sketch on the watercolor paper that we have right underneath here. Okay, be right back. All right, so let's get reset up here. I'm going to take a tissue and just blot up some of this extra paint that we have down here on the paper. So this was our fun, scrap paper. You can use regular printer paper if you want to. So if you want to practice up with your mop brushes, if you purchase a couple new mop brushes, you'll definitely, it'll be great if you can just take some printer paper so you're not wasting your good paper, your good watercolor paper, and you can practice just working with the brush a little bit, seeing the different shapes you can get with the mop brush, how much water's on it, get a little familiar with it maybe for 10 or 20 minutes, and then you'll be ready to go in and work on your watercolor paper and your finished painting. So that's what we'll do here is we'll just lift this up, and we have our paper underneath our paper all set up here, ready to go. Okay, so this is our finished watercolor paper here. And then what I'll do is, just to make it simple, I'll just go around here with a pencil so you can kind of see the basic rectangle that we're working with. We're working in a portrait format, which is really nice to work in, especially for street scenes. You can get some of these really nice, beautiful, like upright, vertical type of dynamics in your paintings. And it really looks nice. You see a whole lot of the vertical scene with lots of the ground level and going up into the first, second, and even third floors above. So you really see a lot of the vertical portions of this scene, which is great. Makes you feel like you're kind of in a real like a valley with some mountains up on the sides. Looks great. So let's take a look at this, and I think pretty much we can say that if we want to just do some hash marks, I'll take a Sharpie and I'll just sort of look at this quickly just to get some hash marks in here. We can see that this green door here to this apartment is off center. So the center of the painting is like that. And then if we go a little bit to the right, you can see that's where the door is. So the door's not on center. It's kind of off center a little bit to the right. And we could even see these walls here, these vertical walls of these buildings alongside here that are creating this alleyway here. They're a little bit, about not quite halfway across the painting for this on the left, and then maybe quarter of the way over, third of the way over for this. So let's get those starts to what we're looking at here. So maybe we call that like a third here, or about a quarter. So we'll put a hash mark there for the, you could say, wall. And then over here the same thing, there's a wall here. And just approximates. Then you can kind of come up here and you're going to say that this is the same thing up here, the wall. Vertical wall's going up this way. And then I would notate this here. There's like a, this looks like, to me, planters underneath windows or doors up on the upper floors, planters for flowers and things. So those are, they start about right here. And then they go this way, and you could put planters. And that's really the other item I might put in would be like this here, the beginning of the staircase. So you can look at this painting and say, wow, the beginning of that staircase right there, that's only like very, very minimal amount up from the bottom. It's not even a, so if we broke this painting down into half, quarter, it's probably like 1/8 up, a little bit more than 1/8 up from the bottom of the painting. So not too far up. You can kind of see it's about there. This would be about halfway. So that's about halfway. Then a quarter is about here, and then you can see it's a little bit below the quarter mark, hash mark. If you're making hash marks and doing this like a recipe, I always think of recipes because I'm always hungry, and I'm always thinking of making some cool recipes like pasta with some really good fresh seafood and garlic and onions in there and shallots and fresh parsley and all that good stuff. A glass of wine with it. But anyway, this is like, if you did want to just get a feel for it, you could say, and you can even use rulers. Don't be afraid. If you want to use rulers, do that. You can have a ruler and you take that and you just say, well, what's our dimension for our full height of our painting? And that's approximately 8 inches. So you could even go there and say, okay, 8 inches, halfway, 4 inches right here, 4 inches right here. And then you could say, you know, that's the halfway point, half. Quarter would be 2. That's 3/4 up here, and then 1/4 down here. 1, 2 is a quarter of the way here. So you can kind of see that this is below the quarter point. This is where the big steps begin, right here. The staircase going up to that door. And then you could even say, where does that door look like it sits? The top of the door looks like halfway. So you could say that the top of the door is probably here. You can make a note and say top of door. So you can make little notes for yourself as you're putting your hash marks in, so that when you begin to do your pencil drawing, you kind of know where everything needs to land. Because that's one of the most challenging parts of drawing, is starting it and then not knowing where things are going to sort of need to be starting and stopping. So it might be that it's really hard to figure out where the steps are going to start and stop, and where that door is going to start and stop, going vertically like this. And then same thing over here going across your picture. Where's that first building wall going to stop, and where's the next one going to begin, and how much space is in between? And then we figure this all out together right from the start. So we have it right here. And then, you know, you can look at the painting too and use a ruler. If you have it on your phone, this painting, or you print it out as a picture, you could measure your photograph and say, wow, that's actually half the size of this painting. So now 4 inches here, 2 inches equals halfway across the painting. Here we have 8 inches. So halfway across the painting going vertically is 4 inches. So that kind of makes it easy if you're kind of using easy breakdowns of your scale, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Where if you're, let's say you're going to create a painting and you want to use this photograph on your phone, or you print it out, you could measure your photograph first and say, okay, well, if my photo is 4 inches, I could make my painting 8 inches high, or even 16 inches high, or 12 inches, and then you just work with those divisions, those space divisions. So you know if you have a 4-inch picture going vertically this way, and then you take 8 inches this way for your watercolor paper, Well, then you have everything all worked out. It's easy to remember that, wow, yeah, 4 inches is halfway between 8. Quarter of the way is 6, and then up from or down from the top is 2. Or if you spin your ruler around the other way, you can do it this way, which is a little more sensible. The only thing is I have a board up here across from me, and I can't use my ruler that way. So I could always get another ruler here. This one here will work. So you could take your ruler and go this way and say, okay, 8 inches this way. And we take it and say this is going vertically this way. The ruler is going vertically, so 1, 2, 3, 4, halfway. 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you have your top. Then you say, where are my quarter points? 2, half, 4, 6, 3/4, and then 8, full. So that's your quarter divisional points, hash marks. And you can do that too across this way. So imagine you're just trying to break things down a little bit with your ruler, or if you want to do it by eye and just say, yeah, that's about halfway, that's about a third or a quarter. But that's really how we always do it here. So if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. I know I go through a lot of details sometimes and it drives people crazy sometimes, I know, but this is really the way to do it. And this way you can't go wrong. And so let's try it out and see how all of our hash marks are going to work for us right now. I'm going to go with I'm going to use this pencil here. This is a 8B, Statler 8B Mars Lumograph pencil. These come in little tins. I buy them by the tin or by the pencil box, and I use a lot of pencils, so I'm always buying them, purchasing them. I get everything on Amazon. All these art supplies, by the way, are down below in the comment section, so you can just click on any of these art supplies and you can find them on Amazon. If you need to, or you want to shop around a little more, that's fine, for better prices or different, styles and things. But all my art supplies, I swear by them. I use them all the time. They've worked for me for numbers and many, many years. Can't go wrong. I definitely know they'll work and perform great for you. So I'm just going to get some rough pencil lines here. This one's coming down this way, which is right here. And this is about a quarter of the way, so that looks good. Or, quarter of the way down. That's about where that wall stops there, and then it goes down vertically this way. Okay, so you have these two lines. I'll make them dark so we can see them on the video. And then over here, this one's just straight. This wall here does not have any, we could see features here in this part of the building on this side, which are very noticeable with strong shadows and strong color. So we have to capture that right there. This here is just a straight vertical line. You could take a ruler and make this vertical line here for this building on the right side. You could take that and just make it a vertical like that. And there you have it. Then we come in next with our horizontal for our stairs, our steps, and we said that was about a little bit below quarter of the way up from the bottom. That's like here. And then maybe this here comes over this way a little bit, and it does. It comes down this way. So there we have a little more. And you can use your eraser a little bit to figure some things out, some lines. I would always go lighter. Do your pencil sketches lighter, you'll never go wrong. I'm doing them darker so you can see them, what I'm doing here. I can't imagine if you're sitting out there trying to figure out what I'm drawing and you can't see the pencil lines. That's why I'm using this nice dark 8B pencil here so you can see those dark lines. Okay, so we have the vertical over here. That's that one wall to the right, building to the right, and then a building to the left. And we can see those dark shadows and things under here, which are the actual planters for the flower pots and things. And then this is all light here, because this is lighter back this way. Strong sunlight's pouring into this alleyway right here on this wall. So if you could imagine, the sunlight's coming from behind us way up above. And it's striking this wall here, the sunlight. So the sunlight's really bright on this wall. And then the light kind of just filters down into this space here, this alleyway going through. So let's continue working on this. We have the staircase here. And then again, we said the top of the door is here, halfway point approximately. So let's make our door here, approximately here. And it's actually a little over to the right. So let me just use my kneaded eraser. And again, if you're drawing and your pencil line's really light, you won't have a problem. It'll be easy to erase your pencil lines. But I'm going a little darker here. All right, so actually have to be about here, like that. And that's the door there. And then the staircase is here. And then it just comes down on an angle like this, the staircase. And there's smaller stairs as they are up here. They're the lines are tighter together. You can imagine the staircase. And then as they get down lower, they're just a little bit larger, but not much. Just something to notice, that you can make them a little larger at the bottom, but not much more. And we can just make them the stairs here, the stair treads of the staircase. Those just kind of blend right into the wall over here on this wall. And then we have the door. And then over the door we have a small, looks like a small area that's indented. It's an indentation in the wall. And then like a small, so there's some features over here, but we're not going to get really too much concerned about some of these features. I also see that there is another wall over here. Very lightly though, I'm going to put that wall in. It's about here. Vertical wall, but very, very lightly like that. And there's some windows over here. Like that on that wall. And over here again, we did see the planters over here. Like that. And then this planter is like this. Like that. And then there's other vertical lines like this. And then if we come over here, we can see that over here there's an arched doorway. Let's get in the tables here. So there's a table over here, like this, an oval table. And then there's another table here, like this. Like this. And these are tulip tables, like this. And then there's some lattice over here that goes up to about a little bit above the bottom of the door, up here like this. So we'll put some lattice here like this. No need to get into a lot of details with this. We're gonna make this a loose painting. So we'll just make these lattices very, very loose. Just like that. We'll paint them in with the brush. And these lattice effects are right down behind the tables too. Like that. And what else do we have? I think that's pretty good there. Then we're actually gonna make sure we get some of these really good darks here. So this door here is about here. So I'll take my ruler and we're going to get some of these darks in. And they go right down to the bottom of the painting, from the top of the painting about above the 3/4 mark there. And these doorways come down and they are like this. Like that. And then we have a few more features here, but I think we're going to leave this more simple. I might not get into 100% of the details, and like I always say, create the drawing and the painting to suit yourself. You're the artist. If we're doing a quick tutorial on using some different brushes that are going to loosen up our work and make our work look a little bit more, again, loose and free. So that doesn't mean you have to sit here and spend 6 hours drawing. Don't do that. Give yourself the freedom to just get a few notes of ideas that you're seeing here on the, on the painting. A couple of lines, just put some vertical lines in here and there. We definitely want to get this beautiful lamp in here. There's some horizontal lines. There's actually a small canopy over here. I want to get that in like this, and there's a light underneath that canopy too. So I'm going to do a light there. There's a light under this canopy here. And then up here there's a lamp coming out. I tend to like rulers. I do use them often. So we'll use a smaller ruler here like this, and we'll use that to get our lamp that's over here coming out from the building. The building has many different lines and things. Let me get the arch over here. And again, sometimes everything doesn't work out, exactly like the picture. Don't worry about it. Again, we're going to get that first arch here, arched doorway here. Then there's like a regular standard rectangular doorway here. I'm going to try to get these lines, pretty much they're all going the same angle for the most part. A lot of these are going similar angles like this across for the doors, tops of the doors. And I'll just drop this here like that and go down this way, and that's the other doorway here. You have the arched doorway here, and that's pretty good. And what else do we have here? We have a small detail on the building. It's like a water table or a small band that goes across the building like that. Nice way to just add another line coming in this way. But you do see that strong dark line there. That's a band that's across the building facade here on the left side. And what else? We wanted to do that light, and I wanted to do that right here. So this light fixture is actually right between here, and it comes out this way, and it's pretty much level here. The light bracket that holds the light fixture up, the lantern, is like here. And then we have really nice ornamentation here. So you can do some some nice curly lines and things. You can design it up the way you want, make it look really cool and interesting. And then here we'll just make our lamp. And I'll just use this and just say it's pretty much like a rectangular shape with the top a little larger than the bottom. So it's like basically like a rectangle, but a little bit larger at top. And then we have the top of it here, and then a bowl on the top, like this. So you got that there. And there we go. We got the lamp detail there. Looks really good. And then we have a line going across like this to the other facade over here. Okay, so I think we have enough detail in here that we have what we want. Enough detail that when we start painting, we won't run out of features in this scene. And that's what we want to avoid, is having a problem where we haven't put in enough detail, but we put in plenty of detail here. Can you see that? That's quite a bit of detail. I would say anything more than this is not going to help us. Let's stick with this much detail, and that's it. And then we have just one line across here that is coming this way, and that is a separation line between the foundation and the first floor of the building. And I see that I made it too low, so again, if you have to do some erasing, no problem. There we go, like that. On a little bit of an angle. It's actually this way, it comes down that way. All right, and we had this here. All right, let's start painting. We just have to take a quick break now. We've been doing a lot of pencil drawing. I always suggest just a tidbit of information. It's up to you, totally up to you. Some of you I know have really good concentration. You can work for hours and hours and hours, and you don't need a break. But I'm always finding that I need about a break every 20 minutes or so, just to relax a few minutes, sit down. I'm standing up right now as I'm at my art table here. And then, if I'm sitting down, I'll stand up maybe and stretch after, half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. But you do the best things that are going to work out for yourself when you're doing your paintings and your drawings. But now that we've done a lot of drawing, I want to just rest for a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll start painting. All right, we're picking back up again, and I just wanted to let you know that it's always good to refer back to your, if you're doing some practice runs with remember how we did our practice run with our paper? So now this has dried quite a bit. This has been like 45 minutes since we did this first exercise when we just were kind of getting a feel for our new mop brush here and our, mixing out our watercolors here. And you can see it's pretty decent. Like the color and value is pretty close to this here. We're going to obviously need more darks on top of this, but this is our first glazing, and I think this, if we shoot for the same amount of water and paint that we mixed the first time, and you saw that in the beginning when we were starting out doing our practice run, you'll see that that's going to work well because this is basically the finished product. The paper is now almost 100% dry, and you can see how it's kind of like we'll do fine if we set this up first on our first glazing on this, just like this. Then when we're 100% dry like this, then we go over and you'll see we get all the darks in. Does that make sense? So basically the glazing technique is really just layering in your first light wash to get basically a good, uniform, nice overall wash on your paper. And then after that, you're going over with a secondary glazing or wash with the darker colors, and then you kind of finish up with the darkest darks and the ornamentation of things, like the lamp, and some of the doorways are going to need some really nice darks in there, the archway and this doorway here, some of the lines on the buildings, a few more things over here like this lamp and awning over the top of this doorway over here in the distance. The door is quite a bit it's green, and that's pretty dark. If you squint your eyes and look, that green, Viridian green, actually, it's a pretty dark tonal value. It's, a medium to dark tone in the painting. And then, of course, the really super darks over here, these doors over here, that are on the right-hand side over here that we drew in. So you'll see that everything's going to come together beautifully, and that's the fun of the glazing technique and the glazing method. You have a fun time getting your first wash over the entire painting. Let it dry 100%. You can use a blow dryer if you want, or you can let it dry naturally, and then you come back over the second glazing and second washes with your darker tonal values, and then you kind of finish up once that's dry. Then you come in with your final darkest darks, and you do like your ornamentation and dark darks that you'll see in the painting. And you can, once you get used to that technique and method of doing the glazing technique, then you can sort of also work a little bit more seamlessly when you're doing your paintings. You can you don't have to necessarily let everything dry 100%, if that makes sense. You can kind of get more of a really nice effect of things like washes flowing together on your painting instead of letting everything dry 100%. But if you're just starting out, or if you're kind of not really 100% used to working in the glazing technique and glazing method, then that's the way you want to go. You want to let each wash or each glazing dry before you start the next one. So basically we're going to do 3 washes or 3 glazings on this painting. We're going to do the first light wash, which was this one here we did in the beginning just for fun, to practice up on our new brush and some of our paint mixes, colors. Second glazing will be doing some of those medium to dark tonal values, let that dry 100%, and then finally just go in there and get those last dark darks, the ornaments of things, and the dark darks, the dark shadows, the doors, these dark doors here, and the dark doorways, some of these darks. So you just find your darkest darks at the last juncture of your painting when you're using the glazing method. So that's kind of the opposite of the alla prima method. Alla prima method, we do the darks first and then we paint the rest in. Glazing method, it's the opposite. Lights first, and then we put in the medium tonal values second, and then finally we finish up with the darks. And once you really get used to that process with the glazing technique, then you can work seamlessly and just kind of do one wash after the next and kind of blend everything and let everything sort of amalgamate together as you're working, and you'll kind of get the feel for that as time goes on. But that's more of advanced type of work that you'll do when you eventually when you're working a lot in this method. All right, so let's we're going to aim for this same kind of look here on this painting. Let's get started. Again, I'll get my large wash brush, mop brush number 6. Get some fresh water. We'll get some good washes again here. Some red, alizarin crimson, raw sienna, yellow ochre. So we're having like an orangey yellow gold, and some red over here. Then we're going to have we'll rinse off our brush now in some fresh clean water. We'll come over here, we'll get some of that Viridian green over here. So I'll get some Viridian green started here for some cooler. So the colors are the blues and the purples and the greens, and the reds and the warmer colors are up here. We'll use some cobalt blue over here. We'll use some cerulean blue here. We'll use some violet here. And then again, we use some of that green, Viridian green over here. Sometimes Viridian green gets a little bit of a difficult task to get it to reactivate. It's kind of a paint that kind of dries pretty hard. It doesn't reactivate all that great sometimes. Maybe it's the brand I'm using, I don't know, but that looks good enough. And some purple here. All right, so there we have our colors, all good. At this point, let's get our first wash in there. Let's go with our reds and see how I have tons of water on here. And you just take your brush, you hold your brush higher up here. Now this is like kind of the opposite. You'll see me work most of the time when I'm painting. I'm holding the brush really close here like this, and I have my hand on the paper, and I'm resting my hand all the time on the table, and I'm painting. With this type of method, when you're using mop brushes and lots of water, you're going to be kind of like lifting your hand up on the brush higher, and you're going to want a looser feel. And that's what I'm saying. If you want that looser look and you want to kind of start to develop some different techniques, you can do that, and it's no problem at all. You're just kind of, holding your brush higher up and using more water and using the mop brush to do lots of large washes at one time. We'll get more paint, no problem. Red, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, and we're doing more of the washes like this, and maybe some more gold in there like that. So I'm just going to get some of that gold in there, and then I rinse off my brush again. Sometimes if you need to take off a little bit of water, extra water, you don't want too much water on your brush, you can always take a paper towel and dry off your brush like this. Then you can infuse a little bit of the blue and the green over here in this center area, and just blend it right in with the orange. And you have more of that cool feel going right down the center here. And the purples over here. And the blues. So you got the blue and the purple in the center. And then you can mix and mingle the colors a little bit too. Don't feel like you have to but you have to do this fast. You can't blend all these colors, taking 10 or 15 minutes. See how I did this quickly? This is how you have to approach it. This first glazing that we're doing right now, I want to do a little more gold maybe. You can also lift off a little bit with your paper towel or tissue. I just want a little more yellow. I went a little too red on this over here. I want this more gold. And yellow ochre, that beautiful yellow ochre color, the stone colors of the golden stone colors, and maybe a little bit of gold too in the center. But like again, this is it. We can't do anything further. And then you can always again get a couple lights in there. Maybe just blot up a couple areas with some light. Blot some, get some texture in there, but not too much. You don't want to ruin the effect of the wash. And then up here, it's a little bit lighter. Up top, if you went too light, no problem. Blot up some paint. That's where the light's striking. The sunlight's up on the top of the painting, all the way up in the scene, striking this wall, and then illuminating the rest of this scene. So we want to make sure we have that same light in our picture. And I think we've got it. That's it. All right, now we have to either blow dry this now or let it dry for like a half an hour. It's up to you. But we'll come back in just a few minutes and start to work on our second glazing. Okay, but that's the first glazing. That should be plenty fine enough. Maybe a little bit of the orange and gold there, just a little bit on the steps, like that. And we also need some of that green, but we have to get it in kind of quick. The green has to kind of go in there fast before it dries. All right. That's all we have to do is work quick on this first glazing. All right, I think it looks great. All right, we'll come right back in about half an hour, 45 minutes, or if you have a blow dryer, quickly dry this off in 5-10 minutes, and we're back to work. All right, so we had that first glazing completed, and now after about 15-20 minutes, it's quite dry. You'll see there, I'm not sure if you can see this on camera, but the paper has a touch of buckling to it, but nothing that's going to give us a problem as far as painting over our second glazing now. So this is the point where we'll probably shift over to a round brush. So we did the first glazing with our mop brush. Now we'll use our round brush. See if we can get some of these medium tonal values. And I think, yeah, we should be able to get the next glazing here with our round brush. And this is a number 8 travel brush, Da Vinci travel brush. You can use a number 8 or a number 6 round brush, natural hair brush or synthetic brush, whatever you have. I always put my brushes, art supplies down below in the comment section, those that are available on Amazon. Most of my art supplies are available on Amazon, so you can check out the supplies below if you want to. And in any case, what I'll do is I'll start out and we'll look at these darks here and say, let's start getting in some of the medium and darks. We'll just start working it that way. So we're going to take some burnt umber to get a good dark with French ultramarine blue. So French ultramarine blue and burnt umber over here on the right hand side is going to get us a really good dark. And it's kind of a warm and cool dark. It's got some blue, some brown. And we'll start to look here and we'll start to so at this point I'm just going to start putting in these darks here. You could take this and kind of go like that and then clean up the edges. If your edges aren't perfect, you can do that, but those are pretty dark there. And if you're looking at the photograph and you say, oh, you know what, it looks a little too dark, that I just painted a little bit too much paint. Again, you can always lift up a little bit of paint here and there if you have to, if you want to. There's no harm in that. You try to get your values the first time really good, but if for some reason you went too dark with something, that's fine. You can just blot up a little bit. Especially if you're just starting out painting in watercolor, it takes time to get all your washes perfect, or where you want them. So here we have the case where we're going to be rinsing our brush off, drying off a little bit of water, and then working in our washes here. Now this here, I added a little bit of Viridian green to this color because I see some green in there. I see some more green in there too. So let's make our darks with some dynamics to them. Not everything just one tonal value. This here is very dark, I noticed, so we could just come in here and we get our darks here. There is a little bit of so this is something where you can go down like this, take your brush and just slide your hand on your working board, your working surface, and get this dark in just like this. And this dark is like this, right next to it. So I'm just going to get that next dark over here right next to it. If you need to mix up some more French ultramarine blue and burnt umber, please do that. Always have a little bit of extra paint as you're working. You don't want to run out. And if you run out, no big deal. You just come back in and mix a little bit here. So you see I'm just going right next to this one, like that. And then I rinse off my brush, dry off a little bit of the water here, pick up a little more of that green. Let's get some green in there. So I'll put some green. And believe it or not, you will see some of this beautiful Viridian green if you add it into the darks here and there. You'll see it. It does look good. And what else? We do have some darks over here. And this is where you start to go in and do some details from what you're seeing here, but you're not getting too involved with every little aspect of the details. You're just sort of, you see that there's some lines, so you put some lines in like that. You come over here. We might see that there's some darks up here. Now sometimes when I'm working like this, you could always use a dowel and rest your hand on a dowel or a piece of trim or wood, something you might have around the house. And that helps to just have a little bit of a more easier time painting in some lines. And you can blot up a little bit too to lighten up some of the lines if they're too dark. A little bit of blue in here too. So I'll do some lines with some blue in it. Like that. Blot up a little bit here and there. Okay. A lot of vertical lines in this painting. And this over here too is a little bit some blue. So I will try to mix in some blue. I am seeing some blue shadowing up here. This might be a window. I think it is. It's a window. It's picking up some of that sky color. So I'll put some of that in. Window there. There's a little bit of a dark over here. So you'll see I'm just starting to put in some details now. Like that. There's some orangey color up here. So I'm looking up here. A little bit darker there. Like that. A couple of splashes. Don't be afraid to splash a little bit here and there. Get a little bit of a effect. I see some green over here on the walls. I see some darks up here, so now we're going to get some of those darks underneath those planters, flower boxes. And a squarish edge there. And if some of them get a little bit blend in with some of the wash, don't worry about it. You could get some of these lines across. So essentially what we're doing here is just we're just looking, constantly referring back and forth to our painting and to the photograph, and just basically making notes in our mental notes on what are we seeing here, what colors, and you can just work it as you go. I'm going to empty my water and put some fresh clean water in my water bucket. I notice my water bucket's getting a little murky. It's always good to change out the water after a few. Can't hurt. And then again, you can lift up a little bit of paint with your paper towel or tissue if you want to lighten up an area or two. Let's get that Viridian green door in here. So that's viridian green and a little bit of sap green. So we'll do that. Ah, that looks good. That looks great. And then we're going to go with a little bit of a darker green. So I'll mix in a little bit of blue, French ultramarine blue with that green. And there's a little bit of a darker tonal value there. And maybe a little bit over here. So that's good. And then we're going to start to put in some of these stair treads. So we have some stairs here. I'll mix up the colors a little bit. I noticed they are different. They're not all the same. There's some green on there. Have some fun. Don't get too serious with it. Let it happen with the lines going across here. Then there's some splashes of green I'm going to put in. Or some dabs of green over here. It looks like there's some even some yellow in here. Some cadmium lemon yellow. There's a little bit of some yellow. This looks like flower pots and things, and some grass. A little bit of plantings, so have fun with that. There's some more up here too. Okay, and then there's some blue down here and purple. Just this feeling of coolness down here on the tables too. Let's get our tulip tables here, glass top tables. They're like this here. And then we can actually lift up a little bit of paint from those. A little bit of shadows underneath them, like this. And then you don't worry about the bottom of the painting. You want to leave that loose. That's not something we want to focus on, the bottom of the painting here. This is where you would splash and just add a little bit of wash maybe, like this. Like that. Add some water to it, make it loose looking. We'll add some more details to the tables here in a few. We'll put in that lattice too as well, but we still have to get some of that orange and yellow ochre and alizarin crimson. I noticed that we still need to get some of those washes still over here, like that. Okay. You can always add a little bit of that to the mix here. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue. Maybe we'll darken this up down here a little bit. Take some artist liberty. We'll darken up this area down here, same over here. Okay. And again, this is about painting loose, lots of water, lots of fun. Okay, I'll lift up a little bit here and there. That's good. Okay, and then as we work this here, we notice there's a dark canopy over here. That and a light, so we have a light here. Some of these details we can do also with the finer brushes. We'll do that. Maybe we'll do some finer details with the brushes. With the needlepoint brush, there we have another detail. A little bit of green here, so we have some different colors we're trying to mix and mingle here. Some blue. Lots of light coming from the center down here. And I'm thinking that looks pretty good now. The top of the painting, the bottom of the painting looks good. We loosened that up. We have the top up here. We add some blue too, some sky. Feeling of the blue of the sky, cerulean blue. Fresh, clean water. We don't want muddy water at this point. To get some of this nice blue up here, we have to have that clean water, so that you get a nice beautiful wash of blue over some of this, maybe up here and then even down here too. Some purple. Bit of purple up here too. But this is very light up here, so I'm just going to blot up some of this. I wanted to get some color on there, but that's very light. And I think we're looking really good now at this point. What are we going to do next? Probably our best bet right now is to let this dry, because the best way to sort of minimize like a lot of paints flowing all over the place and kind of infiltrating into other areas you don't want it to, that's where you can minimize that by just letting the next wash dry. So I'll just do a little bit of that there. Some more lines here, some vertical lines, lots of vertical lines on this painting, like that. Same thing over here. Again, I might take my wooden dowel just so I can get some more vertical lines here. You can almost just take your brush and kind of ride it along the side of the whatever you might have. You know, you can use a wood, you can use a ruler. I have wood dowels. I sometimes work with wood dowels for different projects or whatever around the house. So you can do different things. We're just trying to get a couple good vertical lines where they're not, you know, kind of going off in this direction or that direction. We want to keep all our vertical lines pretty much in this painting all the way, always straight up and down, plumb. That's one of the keys to this painting, which is probably the main compositional idea in this painting is the vertical lines. There's just vertical line after vertical line going all the way across the whole painting, and that gives it the feeling of, like, you know, excitement of vertical feeling of like upwards, like mountains on the side here. This is like mountains on the sides of our valley here we're going through. So if we just make sure we keep these lines, these vertical lines, pretty much straight, going vertical all the way, plumb, so we don't want them turning this way or this way or this way. We want to keep all those vertical lines going across our painting just like it is in the photograph. They're all straight, plumb, like this, all the way across. And then you have some of the angular lines like this, and that's basically the tops of the doors here. You can put a couple of those in, like that. A couple of splashes for texture, like that. I think we could get a little more of a gold feel. Some raw sienna. Some of these went a little bit more orange. I think it's all right though. So the next time we do this painting, we're going to probably try to get a little more yellow ochre versus we went a little bit toward the red, which looks okay too. It looks fine. There's lots of red in here too, and orange. But I like yellow ochre a lot too. I like red. I like the warm colors. Those are beautiful colors. Can't go wrong with any of the warm, beautiful colors of the sunlight, yellow ochre sunlight, and red sunsets, and all that great color is fantastic for this type of painting. And we have the beautiful light coming in from, again, over here in the center of the painting this way. So I think we have good, and have this looking good. And always you can remember, to make a painting seem like it's got more light, we would kind of go a little darker with certain things. So we might take some more burnt umber and French ultramarine blue with maybe some alizarin crimson too, like this. And you could get a little darker down here on the bottom of the painting, like that, here and there. I like this idea of these are the tables. Even though I don't see the light or the dark down here like this, I'm going to say that I want to make this darker down here at the bottom of the painting, like this. And I think that will translate into better light for the center of the painting here. Might lighten that up a touch there. And we have a few more details that we're going to do. So let's finish up with some details. I just wanted to get this up here for that little detail up top, which is like a window, and maybe some dark in there too. I think a little more orange too over here in the staircase area. I think I went a little bit too much with so I'm going with a little bit of a darker steps here, and a little bit of orange too, and yellow and gold in this section, so that it all kind of flows together. And I will do a little more Viridian green up here. If I have a lot of Viridian green here, I definitely want to start to put some of that in the other parts of the painting, just so that everything kind of ties together. And if you need to get a sort of a straight line somewhere where something is a wash is getting out of control, no big deal. If you wanted to, you could take a paper towel, fold it up, make a crease in it like this, make a crease in your paper towel, and then you can just carefully go in, and if you have to make it smaller so you don't overextend it, you just do that. And that kind of worked good there, like that. Add a little bit of water to there. A couple spots on the steps, I'll add a little more water. All right, let's come back and finish up with some of the very fine details that we talked about. Some of the lattice over here by these tables. This lamp up here, lantern, light, and over here too, this light we're going to make a little more with some detail. And I think that'll be it. I think we'll have everything completed. So we'll take a look. After it dries, we'll come back, take a look at it, and see what we need, and then we'll be finished. All right, so we're at this point now where I just used the blow dryer to pretty much dry this really well. It's almost it's 100% dry actually right now. I'm going to do a little bit of I'll maybe make a little bit of green and burnt umber. I'll just do a little finger painting here just to get a little texture. So I'll just get some texture on this door here, like this. I'll take my needlepoint brush for some details. So I'll just use some of the dark that we used, which was French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, a little bit of alizarin crimson. And then I'll just dry off my brush a little bit so that I don't have too much on there. And then I'll just do a couple quick. So this is the lantern under here. We'll do that. We'll do this lantern up here. So again, this is now when you're just finishing up the details and you're not taking too much time to do the details. So we want to make sure we be aware of the fact that if we take too much care and too much time on the details, it's going to not have that feeling of looseness. So let's be careful not to overdo it with our details. Let's make sure we get them in looking good, like this here for that lamp. And then we're going to go across here and just do that. You have to get a little bit of extra water here, a little bit of blue. So we'll do the lantern and this is the bracket. I'm going to do it kind of some curly type of, just quickly, you know, almost carelessly, you know, fun, free. Don't feel like you have to spend, you know, a lot of time on the details. Sometimes when you do them really fast, they look much better. Or if you just really do them, you know, just get them in and do it. Don't, I would say, because I used to fuss around with details so much that I always, you know, did too much with the details of my paintings, and now I realize it's a lot of fun just to get them in quickly and they look better. And then maybe for this lattice over here and the tables, we'll do a little more. So let's do the lattice first. And we just noticed that the lattice was a little bit, let's do a little bit lighter of a tone. So the lattice wasn't extremely dark. So let's go with like a kind of a grayish brown mixture, just something like this. I wouldn't use any colors different than what you've been using on the painting at all. I would make sure you kind of just stick with your colors you used before and you'll be fine for this color. This is basically raw sienna and then a little bit of the mixture up here, which was the burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, and a little bit of alizarin crimson mixed in with a little bit of yellow ochre or raw sienna to give it a little bit of a golden color, and to make it a little bit lighter, we added more water, less paint. So these are the lattice, and again, we're not spending too much time, and the lattice goes here, and it's actually here underneath the tables too. But let's go with a little bit of a dark here. French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, alizarin crimson, and we'll do the tables here. So we're just doing these oval tables like this. I'll just do a little more, like get some oval shapes to it, and like that, and then maybe that tulip shape underneath there, like so, and like that, and that should be fine. And I'll take a little more of and I'll just sprinkle some water on there, fresh clean water, just to, you know, maybe loosen that up a little bit for the tables, and that should be fine. And I just notice these could be a little darker over here, a couple of these lines across here where the steps are, like that. Wouldn't do every single step dark, but I think a few of them need to have a little bit of those darks in it, like that. And maybe even a little bit of a dark under there, under the door. Might look good like that. Like that. And then maybe a little bit of an ornamentation. I would use the needlepoint brush again. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue. Dry off a little bit of the brush just so there's not too much paint on there. And maybe we'll have a little handle over here for the door. Maybe we can shape the door a little better. And this should come out a little more like this, so you can almost we can make the door a little better, I think, like that. Like this. And a couple of light horizontal lines across here, maybe a few. And then maybe some more lines up here, just a few like that. Like this. Then there's another window over here. You could put a lantern over here. Like this. A light there, maybe a little bit of a lantern there, light fixture there. I think that's it. I'm not going to put any more details now. I think we pretty much have it. And then maybe just a few, maybe a couple lines here like this, just a few directional lines like this. Like this. For some cobblestones or tiles or something like that. And I think that's it. I don't think we want to keep pushing more details. Again, I always say a little bit less of the details is maybe a little better. You see how it works out though, but I'm glad you joined me here. If it was your first time, glad you're here. Hoping you'll come along for more tutorials on my channel. Chris Petri is my channel. Again, you can go to that channel. You can click right on my name, right on this video. That'll bring you to my homepage, and then you'll see the finished painting, the pencil sketch, as well as the photographs. So I'm hoping you'll do that too if you need to. I don't think I captured the pencil sketch, so it'll probably just be the painting and then the photograph. But you'll pretty much have everything you need with the video. In any case, happy painting, everyone. Enjoy, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.